golf and sports needs more rivalries, more people who truly don't like each other. And this seems pretty clear. Here's Brooks Koepka doing an interview, and all is going well. He's just chopping up his round. And then in the background, here comes Bryson DeChambeau. Here we go.
Golf course was asking a lot.
Doesn't really
from
matter
you
what they're
today,
talking
Brooks.
about.
What
There's
were you
Brooksy.
able
He's going
to
to chop up
put
some
that nice
play.
number?
People milling about the background. It happens. But watch Brooks's look here in about 10 seconds.
Sometimes,
I
lost my train of thought. Yeah.
That's so freaking
He
great.
drops an F-bomb in there, too.
Yeah. Yeah, this should be the new logo for the PGA Tour or something, because this is great.
He despises
Why is
Bryson
that?
DeChambeau.
Why does he dislike him so much?
I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't really
It's like a
care.
bicep competition.
No, this I think is about DeChambeau's approach to the game, and very scientific, and I think Koepka just doesn't have any patience for this. Brooks is like,
so painful to have him.
I would love for these guys to be paired together at the U.S. Open.
If you're the dude or the person who does the you have to
do that.
give people what they want.
And throw in Patrick Reed with them as well. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what they think of Patrick Reed, but just that look of disdain. Like,
So good. The sigh and the.
I'd prefer to look at the inside of my eyelids than to acknowledge you're in my presence.
And that it's like, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I just can't.
That's how upset he was. He
That's
couldn't finish his sentence.
Well, and Todd Lewis had to start the interview over again. Like, imagine if that was live on Golf Channel.
Oh, that's right.
We keep looking at this video of Brooks Koepka being interviewed on the Golf Channel, and Bryson DeChambeau walks behind him, and it's as if Brooks Koepka smelled something bad when Bryson DeChambeau walked by. Like, he just goes, oh, God. And he rolls his eyes. Now, this is the one sport where you can't really go at each other. You could be paired with each other, but you can't, there's nothing you can do physically to the other guy. You can beat him on the golf course, but you're not fighting. You're not
bad.
Yeah, it's not hand-to-hand combat. Like McEnroe and Connors didn't like each other, but they could sort of take it out against each other. You're going against that person. Football, baseball, basketball. Like, you could have a good competition there, but golf you can't. But if they somehow can pair Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka at the U.S. Open, that'd be awesome. Just the body language. Maybe it's not much, but it feels like Brooks Koepka really, really doesn't like Bryson DeChambeau. I don't know if Bryson DeChambeau doesn't like Brooks Koepka, but this might be one of those situations where Brooks is probably tired of hearing about the mad scientist, the mad genius that Bryson DeChambeau is. Because Brooks is the better player, and Brooks is no nonsense. He's just out there, and he plays the game like he's a fullback or a linebacker. Like, I'm just out here playing on one leg at the PGA Championship. Had surgery in March. He's out there. He doesn't give you great insight into the scientific process. He probably looks at DeChambeau and goes, "Oh God, here we go again." Yeah, see.
But plus, couldn't you see being at the driving range? And, here comes DeChambeau walking up. You're like, oh, God, here he comes with that stupid smashing balls. That swing that's crazy. Oh, dude, really? Damn.
And you got, all the cameras that are going to be on him. And you got, swing coaches there. And you got the club, the whatever his club is that he uses.
And he's walking with that intensity and putting the ball on the tee, smashing it, getting another one, putting it on, smashing it.
Got that hat on.
Man. I'm just trying to work on this fade or something.
Yes, McLovin.
Is that like when we're shooting around baskets and Todd comes out there and starts bombing left-handed hooks all over
I
the
almost
place?
injured you guys a few times.
And you have to watch your head because...
No, but Bryson DeChambeau has talent. He's won a major. Todd doesn't have talent. Yes, Paul.
But any chance Brooks is upset because without Bryson DeChambeau, he's the jacked guy on tour. Now he's the second most jacked guy on tour. Because Bryson is a monster. He looks like a middle linebacker. Brooks looks like a guy who may have played football before. Like, he's in very good shape, but he doesn't look like the monster.
I think all Brooks Koepka cares about is majors. That's it. That's all he cares
Bryson is buys and tries.
It feels like it's, I'm going to drive it 500 yards one day. I'm going to drive it one day where my arms fall off my body. Like they're attached to the club. One day they'll be like, man, he hit that ball. Whoa, he lost his arms. Yeah, see.
You remember the Kevin Nealon bit on Saturday Night Live years ago when he's the bodybuilder and he pulls his arms off?
Is that Hans and Franz?
And I don't remember if it was Hans and Franz or not, but I think it was Kevin Nealon, and he's trying to lift like this insane amount of weight, and he just pulls his arms right off. And they're like, oh my gosh, what? That's what Bryson DeChambeau, one day he's just going to twist himself in half because he's like, yes.
Yes, Todd.
Do the golfers have any say in the pairings, or they have to acquiesce? This is what it is. They're in charge, and this is who you're playing with.
No, they have no say.
Even if you're like, I really can't stomach being with this person. Just put me with anybody else. They can't say that.
No. It's for TV. I'm guessing Tiger probably had some say at some events where he'd be like, hey, I want to play with this guy. I don't want to play with this guy. I'm going to guess he had that power. But when it comes to a major, no. You're usually they'll put the group of guys who won majors in the last major of the year. You got the 3 guys who've won majors, and then they may play in the same group. Former U.S. Open champs going to be paired together. Yeah, McLevin.
Do you think the U.S. Open would have the nerve to actually pair these two guys? I mean, they might be listening now, and it's got to be in their ear at some point.
I would hope so. After they see this video, I mean, Brooks, it's not one of those where he's hiding it. And he knows. Now, I was surprised the Golf Channel put this out because this was a live to tape where, Todd Lewis is getting ready to do the interview, and then you're going to ask some questions. And then all of a sudden, Brooks sees Bryson DeChambeau walk by and, lets out, curse word. And then they have to start it again. Well, you have these where you do a live to tape. It's called, that's why it's live to tape. You can do it again. I wish this would have been live. But it is live to tape. Therefore, a lot of times this stuff never sees the light of day. Yes, Eden.
Well, they do say in the video, sort of like joking, like, oh, we're going to have some fun with this, or something to that effect. And I don't really care.
Yeah, he didn't care that anybody knows how he feels about Bryson DeChambeau. Yeah, McLevin.
We were batting around a poll question option. Is it better when athletes do get along or don't get along?
No, don't get along. Nobody tunes in to see 2 guys like each other.
That's the NBA today. They're all buddies.
I don't like it. I want competition. I want you to be competitive. When Bird and Magic, they didn't like each other. I like that. And then all of a sudden they did that commercial in French Lick, and I went, oh, no, they're going to like each other. Isaiah Thomas and Magic kissing before the tip-off. I didn't like that. When the Bulls played the Pistons, they didn't like each other. That was great TV. Lakers Celtics didn't like each other. Like, what is your rivalry now? The Lakers versus who? There's no animosity there. I want that tension. And I'm spoiled because in the 80s, going to Boston Garden when the Lakers played the Celtics in the NBA Finals, and to feel it, like that had an atmosphere of a heavyweight title fight. And having covered a couple of those Tyson fights, like you walk in and you're like, God, there's nothing like this. And that feeling in the Garden in June, no air conditioning, so hot. And the games always came down to the wire. And I love that. But I like that McEnroe and Connors didn't like each other. I love that rivalry. Now, you don't have it as much now, but I think we do miss that. The Red Sox and Yankees, when it became a rivalry, that was juicy. Yeah, McLevin.
The other day when Chris Paul had his season-ending shoulder injury that he was back 11 minutes later from, it was LeBron carrying him off amongst all the teammates. It was a sad moment for rivalries.
But it's Chris Paul who was boxing out LeBron, and LeBron fell.
Yeah.
And, it was Chris Paul who caused that. And then Chris Paul, he says he's playing with his injured shoulder tonight. Yeah, Paul.
It feels like all the rivalries in sports these days are athletes versus management and ownership. I'm not kidding. If you look at most of the time an athlete calls somebody out, it's either a coach, management, GM, or owners, not fellow athletes. They're partnering up to get paid. That's what the athletes are doing now.